This is the original Fujifilm X100, a 10-year-old camera. The X100 can best any current smartphone and rival some modern cameras as well. You can watch my full review of this camera right here. Now, it's not a perfect camera. It has negatives or cons. However, the price to quality ratio is incredible. It's great for beginners, people on a budget, or people starting to take their craft more seriously. So if you're wondering what are my reasons for getting this camera, then this video is for you. Hi, my name is Jorge. Welcome. On this channel we merge creativity and productivity to try to live a more fulfilling life. In a previous video I mentioned that I wanted to make a versus video between the X100 and the X Pro 1. However, after thinking about it, I changed my mind. I don't like the idea of pitting these cameras against each other, saying the camera A wins or camera B wins. Instead, I'm making this dedicated video about the X100, and later I'll make a dedicated video about the X Pro 1 as well. And if the features, the examples, and the ideas that I'm going to talk about matter to you and speak to you, then that can potentially bring a lot more value than just pitting these cameras against each other. So here's 5 reasons to start your photography journey with the Fujifilm X100. Let's get started. The X100 has a 12 megapixel APS-C sensor, and perhaps that might not sound like a lot to you, but the image quality of this camera is incredible. The color science is great, and the film simulations are just a joy to use. I understand that for some people out there, the ease of use and convenience of a smartphone really matters. However, what does not matter is how new it is or how expensive it is. The X100 is just an order of magnitude better than any smartphone ever made. Whether that matters to you or not, that's another subject. The limited selection of film simulations can be a good way to get you started manipulating color and creating custom profiles. And you can still shoot RAW if you want to go that way. This reason or feature is shared with the X Pro 1 as well. And if you watch any of my previous videos, then you know that I personally prefer the Rangefinder style cameras, and that's why I bought these 2 cameras right here. Having the option to choose between the electronic and optical viewfinder is all that I ask. For example, living inside the electronic viewfinder in a blinding bright sunny day with a custom EVF menu that can show you the settings that you want to see. Or choosing the optical viewfinder and trying to shoot old school like the film days, making the experience more rewarding and saving battery as well. When you shoot with the optical viewfinder, the battery will last all day long, which is a huge plus in my opinion. For people like me, the viewfinder placement can make or break a camera. Last year I purchased the X-T3, and although I think it's an incredible camera and the best bang for the buck that Fuji can offer, I could not deal with the location of the viewfinder, and that is just my personal preference. All the X100 cameras have a leaf shutter. That is a special type of shutter that is built into the lens, not the body of the camera. The most common benefits of the leaf shutter are the vibration-free capture, being able to sync flash at faster speeds, and in my opinion, the most important benefit is the absolute silent capture. You might not think that that's important, and perhaps for you is not. What's the big deal of having a shutter noise or sound in the camera? But photos like these are harder to get if the camera and your shooting style are intrusive and disrespectful. And don't get me wrong, I love the shutter sound of the X Pro 1. But every single person turned around and noticed me when I tried to replicate those type of photos with that camera. I personally really dislike photographers and filmmakers that romanticize invading people's privacy, grabbing cameras and shoving it on people's faces and behaving as disrespectful as possible, almost like a childish little game. So to me, the shutter noise matters. The leaf shutter gives you the quality and results of a mechanical shutter without the setbacks of an electronic shutter. Things like the massive rolling shutter or jello effect that we see in some cameras. This is a big one in my opinion. The X100 has a built-in 3-stop ND filter, and this really matters with cameras that have a limited range with shutter speeds. I mentioned this in a previous video, but on a bright sunny day, trying to shoot wide open on the 23mm f2 at ISO 100 and a shutter speed of 1/4000 of a second make it really difficult to not overexpose your images. And the reasonable response is to just not shoot wide open. I get it. However, I want that to be an option and my choice. I like to have control over my images. Newer cameras like the X-T2 and the X Pro 2 have higher shutter speeds, and that definitely helps. And I understand that cameras with interchangeable lenses have never had ND filters before, but that does not mean that it should be that way. Just food for thought. The X100 is extremely light, small, and portable, and for people like me, that matters. My entire year abroad working as a photographer in Japan is a proof of that example. The X100F became an extension of myself, and no matter where I went, the camera was there with me. Riding the bullet train, or having lunch in a restaurant, or just sitting at a coffee shop while I'm editing some photos. The X Pro 1 is significantly heavier and larger, a lot more than I expected. So yes, size does matter. I really dislike cliches, and I especially dislike when people say the best camera is the one you have with you. That is not true. The best camera is the one you enjoy using. It's the camera that makes you stop before you leave your home to check if you have it with you, the same we do with our keys, and our phone, and our wallet. It's the camera you cannot leave your home without. I have made a dedicated video just about that, and you can watch it right here. But the point is, you can have a camera bag with tons of lenses and DSLR bodies or mirrorless bodies, and there's only two possible options. You either leave them at home because the hassle of carrying that is too much and you don't want to deal with that, or you do bring them with you and then you never end up using it. Turns out it was just fear of missing out all this time. And when a camera is so light, so portable, so small, and a joy to use, you will use it. You will bring it with you. You will make sure you always have it around. And if not, then perhaps you don't really like photography as much as you think. And a bonus reason is just the price. The camera is fairly inexpensive compared to 1. The price of the camera when it was released in 2011, and 2. The price of a brand new flagship camera today. It can be a little difficult to find, and you do have to consider the condition, what's included, any missing accessories, things like that. I paid 450 Canadian dollars for my camera, and I do think that's reasonable for the quality that you get and the results that are possible with this camera. So, whether you're considering this camera for starting your photography journey, or perhaps you already started and you want a camera to hone your skills and improve your craft, then I highly recommend the Fujifilm X100 in 2021. As always, I am curious to know, what do you think? Do any of those reasons that I mentioned matter to you? Any of the examples that I use in this video speak to you? Share your thoughts in a comment down below. But that is it for today's video. If you found this video helpful or valuable, please like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and join my free newsletter as well. Thank you very much for watching, for giving me your time and your energy, and good luck with your creative process.